Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight to discuss the adoption of a distance education program in Fountain Hills, USD. Distance education is defined as formal education that is institutionally based, in which the learning group is separated by geography and sometimes time, and in which instructional media and communication technologies are used to link the resources, teachers, and the learner. Distance education represents an important alternative to address current educational challenges and to make education accessible to all students. Distance education represents a transmission of knowledge through various media and information channels to provide more flexible educational models. Distance education courses are credit-granted courses offered to elementary and secondary students enrolled in a school district where the teacher and students are in different locations. Thus, the needs driving distance education include the need to provide access to educational experiences that are more flexible in time and space than traditional campus-based education, the need to integrate and adapt to the affordances of the Internet and Web 2.0 tools, the need to expand learning environments beyond physical boundaries, the need to provide access to a wide range of training and learning resources, the need to generate new revenue, as well as the need to transform and rethink content and pedagogy to address information age learning style. Increased internet access, advances in computer technology, support for multimedia-rich content, increased bandwidth, ever-growing list of quality e-learning products, as well as emerging technologies are the catalysts for those needs and facilitate the diffusion of distance learning in educational environments. There are numerous research journals devoted to the study of distance education, among them the American Journal of Distance Education, Educational Technology Research and Development, and the Distance Learning Journal. Research findings indicate that distance education provides students with a rewarding experience that is just as challenging and as effective as traditional face-to-face learning environments. Simonson developed the equivalency theory as a framework to distinguish between distance and face-to-face education and emphasize that distance education should have the same learning outcomes as traditional education and should provide equivalent learning experiences to meet those outcomes. Using technologies, theoretical approaches, and appropriate instructional strategies, combining synchronous and asynchronous instruction are all methods that enhance distance education outcomes. Distance education instructional designers should have knowledge of how students learn and of learning theories in order to design effective learning environments. In the United States, distance education has been around for over 100 years. Correspondence study of the first form of distance learning. Communication channels and delivery methods include radio, television, video conferencing, computer, and the Internet. The United States Distance Learning Association provides an effective timeline for the evolution of distance education with milestones for each of its development and commercialization phases. Also, the USDLA provides a projected overview of the future of distance education and learning environments. Districts may be concerned regarding the cost for the adoption of the distance education program. Also, concerns regarding teachers' preparedness to transfer content to the online format to successfully of needed policies may be barriers in the distance education's adoption diffusion process. Other barriers may include faculty concerns related to the existence of a support system and whether distance education learning outcomes are equivalent to those students achieve in traditional courses. Also, teachers may worry whether faculty-student and student-student interactions will decrease in the online learning environment and whether the level of student collaboration may diminish compared to face-to-face courses. Student and parent concerns may be related to the quality of distance education compared with a face-to-face one, to the cost for online courses, and whether the district's distance education program is accredited. Also, their concerns may include the existence of guidelines for security and privacy policies to protect institution and student records. The accreditation of online learning institutions, online learning platforms, the availability of open courseware, and Web 2.0 tools have facilitated the commercialization of distance education. Here are some of the links for more information regarding each of those factors. Particularly, online communication and collaboration tools are important to distance education's communication channels. K-12 online learning in the United States has been rapidly growing in each of the 50 states since 1996. E-learning is administered by the government, the states, school districts, and school levels. Online learning encompasses different forms such as full-time comprehensive schools, concurrent programs, private and charter schools, hybrid programs, and activities within the school day. In 2003, about 15% of the U.S. school districts had students enroll in distance education courses. In 2005, 24 of the 50 states offer some type of online learning, with 36% of them in an online format. According to the Hoover Institute, up to 50% of all high school courses will be delivered online by 2019. So, why should FHUSD adopt a distance education program? Because online courses can meet specific needs such as gifted students seeking opportunities for advanced placement or accelerated learning at their own pace, or homebound students needing to access more curriculum choices. With only a few school districts in Arizona having considered offering education courses, this district will be a pioneer. Rogers outlined 5 stages of the innovation decision process: knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. The following slides outline how each one of those stages relate to the adoption of a distance education in FHUSD. Also, they include links to websites and videos that feature successful online learning programs and their diffusion in K-12 learning environments. Whereas knowledge, persuasion, and decision stages will occur at the district level through this presentation, the implementation and confirmation would occur at the individual school level. The school board, who would approve and adopt FHUSD's distance education program, is the key innovator. Early adopters include district and school level school administration team. The teachers who are already using Moodle, district's online learning management systems, are the early majority, with the rest of the high school faculty as the late majority. The elementary levels faculty are the laggards. Currently, our school district is at the bottom of the S-curve as it relates to the adoption of distance education. The attributes that affect the adoption of an innovation include relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, trialability, and observability. Which one of those attributes would be best for helping distance education reach critical mass in FHUSD? The relative advantage of distance education will expand access to meet the educational needs of current and potential students, will alleviate capacity constraints, and will create a catalyst for institutional transformation. The observability would facilitate district's assessment of the educational effectiveness of its distance education program to ensure compatibility with its campus-based program. The assessments will include students' learning outcomes, students' retention, and student satisfaction. According to Rogers, early adopters choose to adopt the technology because they recognize its benefits. Their peers view them as leaders capable of influencing the behavior of others in their social system. By adopting an innovation, early adopters show their approval and use their interpersonal networks to convey their subjective evaluation. Early adopters champion and speed the diffusion process, and for those reasons are the ones sought by change agents. The following strategies will be used to persuade early adopters. Articulate clearly the strategic goals behind the institution's interest in distance education. Prove that a distance education program would complement the institution's missions, culture, and pedagogical strength. Establish infrastructure and support programs. Establish a reward system for faculty willing to teach in a virtual environment. Similarly, The following strategies will help move laggards towards adoption: provide professional development focused on online course design, provide support from early adopter faculty, allow for experimentation with sample courses, share success stories. According to Rogers' innovations with critical mass, when enough individuals in the system have adopted an innovation so that the innovation's further rate of adoption becomes self-sustaining. Diffusion of distance education has not yet reached critical mass in FHUSD. With this presentation as setting the knowledge stage, the district is currently at the bottom of the S-curve. The district will consider a centralized versus a decentralized approach. Thus, the school board as a change agent will be using a centralized approach, diffusing some of Rogers' 6 characteristics, while the individual schools will be diffusing the others using a decentralized approach. The school board will gain buy-in from champions. Furthermore, the innovations champions will create, implement, revise, and champion the implementation of the district's distance education program. With 5% of FHUSD students taking online classes offered by other educational institutions, the districts cannot afford not to adopt this innovation. So, how will FHUSD lead the distance education movement?